Hello everyone, Social Coach Michael Knight here, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on online dating. Because one of you Patreon subscribers wrote me and sent me a link to a couple articles where this guy did an experiment where he changed his profile picture between one of like an attractive man and one of a non-attractive man, and then did the statistics about like how many matches he got, and then compared that. He made accounts pretending he was a woman, of attractive woman, unattractive woman, and again looked at the statistics of how many matches they got, and he wanted my thoughts and comments on the article. Now, I first thought these articles are going to be very like, incel-y and very negative, but actually they were pretty well written. They were just basic statistics and kind of left it to the reader what to take away from it. And the sole overall point, or the statistics of the article, was that around top 20% of attractive guys get like 80% of the woman's interest, leaving like the bottom 20% of women. Again, this is just based on physical attraction, because that's all that dating app such as Tinder shows, because it's literally just pictures, nothing else. And so that, again, the bottom 20% of women are then have like 80% of the guys all going after them. And another statistic was that men are more likely to swipe right, which is meaning like select a person, or like over 6 times more often than women, which I don't think should really be that surprising. I think most people know that women are a little bit more choosier when choosing a man. But the good thing about that is women are more choosier, not just based on looks, but on other factors. And the thing is, if you're on an app such as Tinder, like these statistics to me is like, yeah, that makes sense to me. That sounds about right. Now, they might not be perfect, but are more men gonna go after the more majority of women and be less selective based on looks? Probably. Are women gonna be more selective and only want the top guys? Because what? They can't actually evaluate the guy based on anything else. They can't evaluate his social skills or his behaviors or how he comes off in person. All they have is a picture too. So are they gonna be more choosier from that? Yeah, that makes sense. And another thing is, any super attractive woman who has lots of options, she doesn't really need to be on Tinder, right? Like, a high value, attractive, confident man, those type of men are the type of men who are going to be putting themselves in front of the woman on a constant basis. She doesn't have to go onto Tinder to look for them. They're going to come to her. And if she is on Tinder, it's more likely that she's just looking for Instagram followers, or just looking for a distraction, or some validation. Now, I don't want to overgeneralize. There's also some shy women who are just, they're shy and they don't like the pressure of in-person situations, just like some men don't. And so they prefer to, kind of have that Tinder wall and hide behind it to initially get to know a person. But again, this is statistically. I don't want to overgeneralize, but statistically, they don't really need to be on the Tinder. So again, that's not really like a factor that puts it more in guys' favor. But let's assume that the data in these articles is generally true, and let's discuss like some of the factors that were actually missing from their analysis. And one big factor was, what is the value of an actual match on Tinder? Maybe it's a short-term validation hit. Oh, I feel good that someone else finds me attractive. Okay, there's a little value in that. But I think the real metric that should be used in articles such as these is how many successful short or long-term relationships or interactions result from the match. Because a positive and enjoyable in-person interaction with another person, that should be the final metric. Having tons of matches and then crappy dates would seem to me that it would be worse than if you had only a few matches, but a couple good dates resulted from them. And now that we see it from this point of view, it's also kind of interesting, because I assume the authors of these articles were men, but let's try to look at it from the woman's point of view now that we see that the value of an actual match is not necessarily a positive result. Women might not actually be coming out ahead on Tinder, like these articles kind of suggest that they are. Like they're like, oh, woo, me guys, it's so hard to get a match. Okay, so women can get more matches more easy, but we just determined that the value of an actual match is not necessarily a positive thing. So the average woman could be going on tons of unsatisfying dates, given the number of matches she has, and the net result could be a negative overall experience. And then maybe the times that this average woman actually goes on a date with like an above average guy, again, this is all subjective just based on looks, because again, that's how Tinder works. he probably doesn't call her back, right? Because he's in the top 20% and he has a lot of other better options lined up. So in the end, for a woman, that could also be classified as a negative experience. So my point is that the whole online dating thing can be a frustrating experience for both men and women alike. So another factor that this article doesn't really talk about is, should you even just like a woman based on her appearance alone? Or like a man based on the appearance alone? Now obviously in this app, that is the factor where you're selecting left and right. And of course, I want to date attractive people. They want to date attractive people. That's fine. But again, when we think about what's the final outcome or the metric you should be using is positive interactions with the person in real life. Now, there's no guarantee because they're attractive that you're going to still even have a positive interaction. Now, a man is probably more flexible than a woman in this regard, where a woman's like going to judge a man more on behaviors, and a man might just be really excited that he has a hot date, so to say. But as a man, you should still have some other standards. Like the very definition of an unconfident, needy, desperate man is a man who is willing to take whatever he can get. And that's kind of sounded a little bit like the attitude of the author of these articles, because it sounded like the match was all the guy needed. Like, oh, I got the match, that means I got the girl. No, like the match should just be an option for you to then go meet the person, but you should still be evaluating them on some other criteria. Otherwise, you're going to bring in train wrecks into your life that could also just destroy your life. So you as a guy should also have some standards. The guys who wrote these articles seem to slightly imply like there was some equity injustices, where the fact that not every man was assigned the same amount of percentage woman to date was some huge injustice. No, it's called merit in life, and that's the way the world is supposed to work. And if you want to know how it works when you do have that type of system, read Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, and you can see how that turns out. So what should be the real takeaway from these articles? Should it be, oh, woohoo, I'm below average in looks, so that means I have no chance in the world, I should not even try? Or should it be, hey, how can I differentiate myself in other capacities? Why don't I work on bettering my social skills, displaying more attractive behaviors, and you know what? This is like the #1 life hack in the world. Yeah, I also don't want to be on Tinder. I personally never did that well on Tinder. And I know on Tinder, I'm going to be filtered from ever seeing the most beautiful and desirable woman on there automatically by the Tinder algorithms. I'm not going to get those swipes. But if I can go into a bar by myself, within 3 seconds of entering the place, I can be talking to the most attractive woman. That's like almost being on an instant date. At the end of the day, even if you optimize everything, like you have the best sales funnel, and you get the most girls from Tinder onto dates, if you have no social skills at that point, it doesn't even matter. You're not going to be closing any of those deals, so to say, right? You could have an infinite amount of dates lined up, but if you don't have the social skills for those in-person interactions, what was even the point? It doesn't make any sense. I'd rather just have those effective and positive interactions without all the headache and clutter and Tindering and swiping and messaging for weeks and convincing and going through flakes. To me, that just sounds like a headache. Now, I'm not completely against Tinder, but I think it should be something like online dating. It should be a supplement to already dating in real life. Because if you don't have those real life skills, it doesn't even matter how good you get online. All your dates are going to fall flat as soon as you're in person. So if you want to develop your social skills so you don't have to go through all this, you can like skip the queue, as it were, and not have to put up with all the BS that is in the world of online dating. So you can be that guy who can just walk into a venue, see an attractive person, go up to them, hit it off really well, and maybe even create a relationship right there on the spot. If you want that skill, then I recommend you check out my book, which is specifically on the topic of attraction. And for those of you who are really serious about getting this area of your life handled so you can finally build the type of life you've always wanted, I provide one-on-one coaching, and an application to this can be found linked to in the description below. Of course, please like and subscribe if you like this video, since that would be doing me a huge favor when it comes to helping me grow my channel. That's all for today. Until next time, ciao.